Hello, everybody, and welcome to week 11. Week 11, I was just saying to the team, it feels like March 126th, the 126th day of March, the same thing over and over again. For a lot of us, it's really breaking up now, and we're really starting to see a new future. It was like, how many times do you think of Sonny and Cher coming on at 6 a.m. in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania, right? We're breaking free from that. And today is an awesome day here at the Certainty and Uncertainty webinar. Of course, I have my colleagues and my panelists on board, and we have special guests today. We are going to be talking about the pandemic and airway, man. I'm super, super crazy excited to have Michael Gelb and Corbin Cowan with us. We're going to bring them in a bit. Gentlemen, thank you for being here today.
Great to be here.
And of course, my beautiful and talented and lovely team of panelists. Today, we are going to be talking about what's happening on the reopen opportunity. We are like half the country is now in full rock star mode, and then half the country is now like really working their way slowly back. And there's some trepidation, there's fear, there's overwhelm, there's what do I do? And there's a lot of that, and just know that's why we have this webinar here to give you the latest and greatest on what's happening in the area of searches and banking and teledentistry and clinical support. And so we're going to jump right in today. Let's go out to Andrew out in California. Andrew from Dr. Genius, thanks for being here. What is the latest and greatest from search world and what's happening in the world of new patient action?
New patient action, it's really about patient experience. It's really coming down to that. We were just kind of talking offline a second ago, and it's really trying to entice the patient to come back, right? And that it's safe to come back. Not only for adults, but obviously for the children as well, and for pediatrics. And like what we saw last week, only 5% of California dentists have really made that hurdle and tried coming back. I think we're seeing a little bit more progression now, as you can start seeing some of these. I'll go ahead and share these little. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so it kind of shows you which states are coming open, the states that are reevaluating, and the ones that are uncertain, right? And it's kind of, throws me off a little bit to see California is reopened, but with only 5% of dentists coming back. So I think that's really about the patient experience, really, and getting past that. And if we look here, we've put together a patient experience package with, everybody on this call with, Dr. Laskin, a lot of help from Dr. Laskin. To try to take some of that patient anxiety away. So, from your pre-screening the patients to using paperless forms and curbside check-in, kind of like what you're doing when you go to I guess some of the grocery stores. I went to a sporting goods store yesterday. I had to do the curbside check-in and just pick it up. So it's really, creating that experience and that environment for your patients and letting them know that you do have it, right? So I really think that's going to be the next phase, the next wave, is to ensure we have everything locked down. Look at us. We're on Zooms on our 11th webinar. My kids leveled up in karate and got their orange belt via Zoom. So we're expecting technology to lead the way. And that's from, a society standpoint. So I think it's really important for doctors to kind of put that foot forward and say, hey, we are utilizing what's out there. It's safe to come back, and let them know, the processes and steps you are taking as a dentist to do that.
Yeah, it's super, Andrew. Thank you for your insights always. I always appreciate you open my eyes up and you get me thinking. I was on the call with 3 doctors today, one in Florida, and the one in Florida they were like, patients are coming in saying that you as my dentist were the only healthcare provider that communicated with me during this time. The dentist, and wow. no other provider reached out to me. And you not only that, you shared with me what you're doing differently about like the care and that I'm going to have teledentistry, and I'm going to be able to, be in communication with you. And it's mind blowing to me that other medical industries and healthcare industries had no communication whatsoever. So Andrew, thank you for representing the patient experience. Also, Brian, let's go out to Brian. Brian and Andrew are partners in the teledentistry piece. Brian, if you could just let us know what the latest is in teledentistry.
Sure thing, and I appreciate you. I'm excited to hear this presentation today. I think it's a hugely important issue within dentistry, and we as dentists, if we don't manage people's airways, I think it's going to slip through the cracks. So hugely important, and also I should mention one of the areas where teledentistry can play a role. There's few things in dentistry as a general dentist that we can't do root canals, we can't excavate caries through teledentistry, but we can do some airway management follow-up things, kind of similar with orthodontics through teledentistry. So it's one of those things that as teledentistry starts expanding, we're going to be able to replace some in-office visits, minority, I think, but with teledentistry. But I think we're talking about something today where there probably is crossover. I'm going to share my screen too, because I did. We added another form. This is like I don't know if it's our 4th pre-screening form into all the Dr. Genius and OperaDDS pre-screening forms. This one's the ADA's form. The important one with this, that it's in all new accounts, or if you want to use the ADA form, just let us know and we can put it in your account. The big difference here is that there's some different questions, and then also there's a spot for you to ask them when the patient actually comes into the office, so you can obviously capture this. It's just giving offices options if you want to use the CDC forms, or this is the ADA form for pre-screening patients. And again, the key here is to text it or email it to patients before they come in the office, so if they do have issues before they come in. And one more thing is we have a hyperlink right here, which is kind of fun, which just brings you to a page that has a listing of all the states' Department of Health. And so another thing with teledentistry that I think bears mentioning or emphasizing is that I would recommend, if you are doing teledentistry, just to do so for people that are in your state. If it's across state lines, you can you have to know the state guidelines in each state, and that's always changing, so it's complicated. So I would recommend to people that are offering teledentistry services to do it just within your own state, just to be safe. That's what I've got.
Thanks, Brian. Thanks for always updating, and thanks for elevating the game, because what we're finding is I'll tell you, in the past week, I've probably done 25 restructuring of financials, because, for instance, like for some states, we have to move hygiene visits from 60 to 70 minutes in some states. And also the turnover time. So if we don't make up that time somewhere, and where we're making up the time is the work that you're allowing us to have, which is saving time in the front end, saving transaction time, but also saving post-op time. So we have to find the time somewhere else, and one of the areas is in the area of teledentistry. So thanks for I'm looking for, like, if I got to put it in here, how do I find it somewhere else? And without your support, Brian, I don't get to do that. So thank you very much for evolving your platform and allowing us teledentistry. Awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah, you bet. And it's like, I was talking to my friend Samir, who's going to be on next week. We're going to talk about patient financing, another important aspect of doing larger cases. And, he was telling me, he said, Gary, there's this, he was watching this TED video, and it's like, good or bad, hard to say. So like there's experiences that people have, and they say, well, is that good or is it bad? Well, it's hard to say, because like, you can look at this situation like it's good and it's an opportunity, or you can look at it like it's bad. And it's like, but then there's like good and bad. I lost my mom from this thing. But what there is to do is to begin to look and say, let's pull the good or bad out of it and take the judgment out and say, is it working or is it not working? Is this working or is this not working? And when you look at it from that perspective, you can go, hey, is it working for the patient? Is it working for the team? Is it working for the practice owner? That's how you want to start looking at your decision-making when you start diving into this thing. Is it working? Is it not? And how does it impact the triple win? The patient experience and the outcome, the team experience and the outcome, and then the practice owner and the outcome, and teledentistry and the work that you and Andrew are doing together. Just game changing. Thank you so much. Let's go to money. Mo Money, Snoop Bobby Bob. I'm an East Coast rapper. If you don't know, he and I have a podcast together. If you haven't seen it, it's awesome, or heard it. I almost lost my millennial card there, Bob, saying that you see podcasts. That would have been horrible. That would have been freaking horrible, Snoop Bobby Bob. He's a West Coast rapper. I'm an East Coast rapper. Let's do it.
Yeah, I think everybody should know your name, though. It's Ren GLK from the East Coast. Yep.
That's right, man.
Yeah, so I just want, I just want to say this has just been an amazing past, 2 months, I guess, has been now. And, through this time, I think we all should look back and say, have we been proactive or have we been reactive during this period of time? And really what I want to talk about is becoming better than the crisis was in the past. So let's not rush back into the old normal, and the old normal being what wasn't really working for us in the past. Let's move forward into the new normal of what we need to do moving forward into what we're going to be into right now. So how can we be better for going through this crisis? I think we really have been talking about this for a while, but I think the big question is pain without gain is a shame. I think you've all probably have heard that quote. But basically, I think really what that's about is if we really haven't learned through the pain that we've been going through the past couple of months, it really is a shame that we haven't. So in order to gain from the past, we need to be intentional about how we are moving forward into the future. So primarily what I would like to talk about is take inventory of what wasn't working in the past. Let's look at that. And obviously, I think in a lot of calls that I've been taking, I've been really finding that doctors in general, some of them haven't really had the financial stability that they really needed moving forward into this crisis. And obviously everybody runs into fear when they don't have financial stability. So let's look at it financially. Let's look at the systems within your practice. Obviously what wasn't working, let's look at your marketing. The marketing in general moving forward, that's got to be different in your message and everything that you do. And obviously your team, how is your team actually coming back to the practice? So let's talk about really why I'm here today is about financial inventory. Finances are a number one cause of stress. Let's be prepared for the future and basically, you really let's look back and say, did you have enough money to get through this crisis? Obviously, I think the old adage is, always have at least 3 to 6 months of financial reserves on hand, just in case we do run into this once again. So now is the time to actually prepare yourself to build that reserve before something like this happens again and not get caught. Unexpected taxes. I think I've talked to quite a few doctors as well that unfortunately were also surprised during this time with unexpected taxes that they had to pay. And then money to get the practice up and running, the new normal. That's the area that, that a lot of doctors are calling me and saying, gosh, I need to get a loan. I don't have the money to actually pay for all of this stuff that we have to bring into the practice. And so let's talk about an emergency fund. For the past couple of weeks, I've really been talking about this quite a bit because I think this is where you can actually start to really gain more cash flow within your practice moving forward. It's obviously about focusing on consolidating your current practice debt that you have, including your all of your equipment loans, your credit card debt, and maybe any other outstanding debt. And if you do have tax debt, I would say, let's talk about that as well. Let's get rid of that. And this is an example that I've been using for the past couple of weeks because I think this makes a huge statement in regards to our current debt that we may have right now. This is an example of somebody that I was actually helping they had $350,000 of debt left on their practice loan with $5,300 of monthly payments. They had equipment loans adding up to be about $80,000 and monthly payments of about $1,750. Credit card debt was racking up, and about $50,000 to $75,000 is what I'm hearing, but $50,000 on this, which was about $2,500. So the doctor had about $9,500 that he had to put out every month to keep up with his monthly payments. But if you really look at it, and if you were to consolidate all of this debt, include also your equipment and your marketing in that new debt that you're going to consolidate, your new loan amount would be about $578,000. Your new monthly payment would be about $5,851 minus the $9,500 that we were showing you on the prior screen. And your total savings would be around $3,700. I actually just got through helping a doctor. They had about almost $15,000 in debt, monthly payments that they were putting out every month. And I got them down to $7,000. That was a huge savings that we were able to help them with. Just going on with this one, I just wanted to show you exactly what the program is about. It's obviously a program that is created for this whole crisis period for doctors. The rate right now is between 3.75 to 4%. If you're a Delta provider, I think that rate does go down to 3.40%. And primarily it's 120 months. Monthly payments, again, we were showing you at $5,851. You got zero payments for the first 6 months of this loan. So kind of think about that, because if you're saving 6 months of monthly payments, now you've saved $22,207. Well, excuse me, now you've got a savings of the difference of that $3,700 plus the monthly payments on the new loan of $35,000, an annual savings of $44,000 with a total annual savings which was around $79,000. So if you really look at it, you know, what could you really do by actually consolidating all of your debt and bringing down those monthly payments? You could actually start to build your 3 to 6 months of financial reserves, unexpected taxes, get extra money for your necessary items and then emergency funds as well. So obviously it's all about freeing up your cash flow, build up your reserves, invest into fine-tuning your systems within your practice, invest in marketing within your practice. That's going to be the biggest thing that you want to start doing now, and invest into your future. So rushing back to the normal will be, you know, one of the worst things that you could do. Let's take care of the holes that are in the boat right now. And for those of you that would like to talk about this, I've actually now been organizing myself a little bit more in how I'm helping people. So you'll see that I do have a new email address here. If you just write calendar request, you'll be able to go to my calendar and schedule an appointment so we can discuss your financial future. Thanks so much.
Hey, Bob, that's beautiful. Look at you millennializing your world, man. I love it. Check him out, man. That is so awesome. I love my fellow rapper. And listen, hey, you know, go ahead.
I think that's when you get some millennials to help you put all that together. Honestly, I don't know how to do that myself.
Yeah, no, you're amazing, Bob. But I'll tell you, what you made me think of is when I went through a personal crisis with my wife coming to me and going, dude, you don't have to quit drinking, but you can't stay here. My son had autism. It was like this whole thing was falling apart. What I learned through that period is when you go through a crisis, all the areas of weakness get unveiled, and then you have an opportunity to step into and address them, bringing them closer. Like, so when you're busy, it's like you don't take care of those things. When everything's falling apart, it's like, okay, it's right here. It's go time. And I want to call the gentleman. We have guys sitting on the sidelines, afraid to take action right now. Right now, probably the last 3 weeks, we have 20 new people coming on board, 16 of which are female dentists right now. And I'm not, this is not a judgment. This is just anecdotal, what I'm observing. Female dentists are like jumping in and making changes right now. This is a call to arms to our male dentists out there. It's like, don't go back. Don't go back. Don't do the same thing. I'm supporting you. And so I just wanted to put it out there because, you know, just a shout out to the ladies stepping on the court and taking action, because I could see it, you know, really, really happening. So just love to my brotherhood out there. Let's go. All right. It's time to reach out to Tanya, because Tanya's got some special new information regarding, you know, the absolute ADA support of hydrogen peroxide.
Hey, Gary and everybody. It's good to see you.
You too.
I want to encourage you all that patients are coming back to the practices. So last week was the first week that we were really seeing a lot more offices coming through with regular appointments, not just emergencies. Our particular lab is up 55% of what they were before COVID. And I mean, we're not even talking about California, New York, Michigan, a lot of the other states. And I know that those practices that are in the complete health community, your community, Gary, they've got patients who can't even get in and are lining up. So it's not a matter of trying to convince them they need to come. They're ready to come in and they're ready to get healthy. So that is just kudos to everybody out there doing the groundwork with complete health practice. And if you're not part of the community and you're listening, I just can't say enough. I've been watching this community and participating for a lot of years. The dental offices that follow the methodology really do well. And I know it's scary. It's a little different if you've not done this before, if you're drill and fill and you're making a change, but it really can be beneficial. Using Perio Trays first is an excellent way right now. This is a protocol that's been in place forever, but so underutilized, and it is so vital now. You can prescribe trays for patients who are in delayed care, for patients who've missed appointments for months that you can't get in. You don't want to generate aerosols right now? Fine, take an impression. You got a hygienist who won't come back? I can't tell you how many stories I've heard in the last 2 weeks of this. You can do this without a hygienist. You just got to get a good impression or a scan. Use the trays first, get them in. Some offices are doing lasers, some are doing ultrasonics, some are doing hand scaling, what you're comfortable with on your protocols. This can really help. If you want personalized training, we do it, and you can go to our website, providers.perioprotect.com, and get information. There's also ways to become a provider for free. I'm excited to just tell everybody again, if you haven't heard it, we're doing special COVID recovery pricing. Our normal price on trays is $88.95, and we're dropping it down $68.95 at least through the end of July. Might go longer. We'll make that decision based on how well we, you know, the dental community seems to be bouncing back. And I've heard a lot of people tell me that they can't find hydrogen peroxide in pre-treatment, right? So hydrogen peroxide as a rinse is what ADA is recommending, because peroxide was a really good antimicrobial against the original SARS virus, 2002, 2003, and they believe it also to be very effective for this coronavirus. So they're recommending as a pre-treatment risk to decrease the viral load in the saliva, which would decrease theoretically the risk of oral transmission in the dental office. But if you can't find it, then you're really stuck. We are also recommending that you take Perio gel, which is what we sell, or any kind of hydrogen peroxide gel for that matter. Our gel has 1.7% hydrogen peroxide. Brush with it. You can keep it in there longer. It's gooey. It's got a longer contact time. And that theoretically should even work better. If your patients are in trays, call them, make sure they have the gel. Remind them that this gel is not only antibacterial, it's also antiviral. And this doesn't mean you're not going to get the virus. It just means it decreases your risk of transmission. It is a great way to keep your mouth clean every single day. I know it's tight for some people right now, but you know, Care Credit, I'm so glad you're bringing them on next week, Gary. Let's say you charge $800 for a set with 4 tubes of gel. That's $67 a month, right? And if your patients don't have financing available on a regular basis, they don't have it in their dental policy, their dental insurance, maybe they lost their insurance during this whole thing, $67 a month. And I was floored. I've heard 3 offices tell me that they had patients that purposely set up an orthodontic appointment just because they got their rebate check, not their rebate. What do you call that check that the government sent out? $1,200 a family.
Stimulus
Yeah, their
check.
stimulus check. That's right. That they took that money and went straight to the dentist with it. Now that's exciting, right? People are caring about this. So I just want to congratulate everybody here in this community. Bob, I get so excited when you were able to help people, right? Consolidate their debt and move forward with security and feeling like they have a plan. And Brian and Andrew, you guys are changing things on the fly. Like every week, there's some fabulous new update. This is great work, everybody. I'm just so proud to be part of this group, Gary. Thank you for including us in it.
Oh, you bet. And Tanya, little heads up, like to go a little deeper on what Tanya's talking about. The reason why PerioProtect is blowing up is, number one, that the ADA says to use it as a pre-procedural rinse. And my wife taught me this. She created the first day spa, which did not have hair in it, just had it had facials and body treatments. And Aveda used to have, like, they would take a tube and they would do hand massages. And they would take the tube of hand massage, put it in front of the patient or the client, and do the hand massage. And then obviously the client would go, hey, I want a tube of that. What they're doing in dental offices is putting the perio gel down, snipping the nozzle. They're putting it on the toothbrush. They're sending them home with a perio gel. And then they're going, well, what about this? Tell us more about it. And that's when they're doing their trays. And the patient now asks for the trays, because like we're doing as a family, my wife and son and I all do our PerioProtect in the morning and night as a preventive measure against antiviral. So nice job. Thanks for being ahead of the curve.
Thank you.
Yeah. Now, we're talking about clinical and it's blowing up. We need to get Airway in here fast. And I'm so glad that we have the 2 foremost experts in sleep, in my opinion, no doubt about it. My brother, my sister from another mister's here. Michael Gelb's here. Love you, Michael. I'm glad you're here. And nobody laughed at that joke. I thought that was going to be a good one. I practiced it all day. I'm like, that's going to be good. People are going to laugh. I mean, it's going to be good. Michael.
Hey, Gar.
Come on, man. I'm
Good
so
to see you.
excited. Yeah, good to see you. And let's talk about the immune system, Airway. I mean, bring us the latest, please.
Well, I want to say after listening to Andrew and Brian, most of my patients have come from Google, have come from SEO, have come from search. My doctors are not in business. They're not there to send me, my MDs, my DDSs are not there. So Google's been carrying me, and I've been trying to get to word of mouth. But without Google over the last 8 to 10 weeks, I'd be nowhere. So I'd say 90+% of my new patients have come from people like Dr. Genius and SEO. So that's been great. And Tanya, I learned so much today. I'm so happy to be here with you guys. I just thought I would share a couple of what I've observed over the last 10 weeks. And I think what the opportunity is and where we're at, if I can, let's see if I can get on this.
Look at that.
Trying to create some certainty in an uncertain world. Let's see if I can, here we go. So what are we seeing? No one's sleeping well. I mean, everyone is stressed out. If you're not stressed out about the virus, you may be stressed about finances, the economy. So interrupted sleep. And then I was on with a functional medicine doc, and they're talking about glucose and insulin resistant. Their sugar numbers are just off the charts. They're awful, because when you don't sleep well, it affects both the glucose tolerance, insulin resistance. People are waking up in the morning. Is it because you're drinking too much or you're dehydrated, like Gary we used to do? And we'd wake up, my mouth is cotton mouth, and I didn't drink enough water. I should have taken every other water for every drink I had, but I forgot. And then increased anxiety and depression. Increased irritability, sad and empty feeling. We're like numb to this. We're like in the 126th day of March. That's so well said, and we're becoming numb to it. Increased clenching. I can't tell you how many patients having ear pain now, jaw pain, neck pain, and it's all because of stress and clenching. I think it's a perfect time You don't need aerosol. You don't need to drill. And I hope, Corbin, I hope you're going to talk about this. It's the perfect time to screen our patients. You want to be more refreshed? Are you snoring? Do you have reflux? You tasting that acid in your mouth? Is your blood pressure higher than you want? Arrhythmias? Are you having just difficulty time now concentrating on anything, getting through a story, reading a piece in the Times? Is your memory bad? Now's the time to stockpile and take advantage of this time to get yourself back in order. Not financially. I love what Bob said. I love what all you guys said. Now's probably the best time to do it. And hopefully Corbin will talk more about the kids, but if your kid is running around the house and you're going crazy homeschooling and that you can't get the kid to concentrate for more than 5 minutes at a time, maybe it's a problem. Or maybe the kid is lethargic. Maybe they're waking up at night, they're sweating, they can't get out of bed. Maybe it's a kid like me who was a bedwetter till I was 6. And again, anxiety and depression in kids. What can we do? So what I've been telling everyone to do, get out in the sun for at least an hour a day. The vitamin D, the exercise, it's going to help your sleep. It's going to help get rid of insomnia. And the vitamin D, we think, is even a protectant against things like COVID. Stay in a regular schedule. You know, on the call the other day, I said, what's the difference between going to sleep at 2 and sleeping at 10 and going to sleep at 10 and waking up at 6? There's a big difference because we do better when things are in accordance with our circadian rhythm. So we go more with the cycle of light. Don't eat after 7. Cut down on your alcohol. No caffeine after noon. Maybe start like Marion Nestle said, eat less. Just in general, try to get by with eating less. You'll live longer. You'll feel better. We know you're going to go for the cheese doodles. We know you're going to go for the junk food, Gary. It's okay. Just
no, we're not.
Just do it a little bit less. I love cheese doodles. You know, what happens is when we don't sleep well, our cravings go up. We start to make bad decisions because our prefrontal cortex is not working well. So instead of getting up, if we're hungry, going for a piece of lettuce or a piece of celery, we'll go for the pint of ice cream. So we make poor decisions with less impulse control. As we're more tired during the day, we're going to crave those carbs and sweets. Ghrelin, remember, is the go hormone. It makes us want to eat. And leptin tells us when we're full, and they get totally mixed up. When we don't sleep well, we want to eat more, and we don't know really when we're full. And we make bad decisions. Our metabolism slows down. We get more of the stress hormone. And what I didn't know, which I found out by researching over this time, when we have insomnia, we have 10 times the incidence of depression, 17 times the incidence of anxiety, and with apnea, it's 5 times. So what can you do right now? Well, one thing I have to tell you, there's this new device out. I've been using it for years, but now it's disposable, it's one-time use, and the results come back on your iCloud. The results come back to the physician and to the dentist through the cloud. So the patient with COVID, no one else has to reuse that. You get to keep that device, and it's not expensive. And any of our dentists, Gary, with complete health, with NextLevel, can use this. I like the stop bang questionnaire. Do you snore? Are you tired? Has anyone observed you not breathing? Do you have high blood pressure? What's your neck size? What's your age? Are you a menopausal woman, or are you a man between, let's say, 40 and 60? There's apps on your phone like SnoreLab. If you don't believe that you're snoring, you can use the app, and that will measure your snoring. We talked about the home sleep test. Hopefully Corbin will talk more about children. And for everyone on this call, go into a cool, dark room, keep it around 68 degrees, get good quality sheets, have a high deserve level, as Gary talks about. The eye shade is probably really under-recognized. That eye shade that you sometimes only use on airplanes, you try that eye shade in your bedroom. Take a warm shower before bath, or take an Epsom salts or magnesium salt bath. That will make you sleepy. Exercise earlier in the day, but try to get in at least 3,000 steps. Turn off your screens before you go to bed, at least an hour before. And try to breathe through your nose and get a good pillow and maybe be propped up. Melatonin, maybe 5 milligrams. Increase your vitamin D. Here in the Northeast, on our latitude, most of us are deficient in vitamin D. Magnesium's a great tool at bedtime, 400 milligrams. I just bought through Tim Ferriss these Gunner blue light glasses. Gary, you would love those. You can watch your screens if you want to. Just put on your Gunner glasses. Remember that things like antacids and antihistamines have anticholinergic side effects, and they're going to disrupt your sleep. Get into teas again, chamomile, valerian root, lavender. CBD is really coming up, and I think it has a lot of effects. Take it with THC in it, and then cognitive behavioral therapy. So here's the time for opportunity. Increase, this is now the time to send out, I'm going to do that with PerioProtect, but at the same time, I'm increasing my awareness of sleep to my patients and telling them how it ties in with COVID. Increase home sleep testing. Consider the Watch Pet 1. Take care of yourself during this time. Get in shape, exercise, eat better. We're now doing more home cooking because restaurants have been closed. It's an opportunity to cut down on sugar, carbs, and gluten. Put your health and your patient's complete health first. And remember that the airway is the pillar of health. I'm not going to get into this, but I think I'll leave it at that, Gar, and leave room for Corbin.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Michael.
Stop my share.
I appreciate the wisdom there, of course, always. And then we'll come back to you on the backside on what actions we can take. Corbin, please. I want to make sure that you all know Corbin. Corbin is an amazing partner. He has been with Vivos for a long time. He brought me the opportunity. We had clients, mutual clients, that were helping and changing people's lives. And we're coming together with Michael and the community to bring complete health in a new way using the Vivos system. And I'm so grateful to have and introduce to you all Corbin Cowan, please.
Thanks a lot, Gary.
Corbin, you there?
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Got you clear.
So I'm grateful to be here. I want to thank Dr. Gelb specifically. I wouldn't be able to do what I do without guys like Dr. Gelb picking up the torch long ago and bringing the whole concept of sleep dentistry to the forefront. And because of guys like Dr. Gelb, Vivos was able to, be created. And for those of you that don't know Vivos, we are an education and an oral device company. And really one of the great aspects of Vivos is the training and the education and the ongoing clinical support that you get when you join the team. You get a mentor, someone that has done hundreds of cases when you come on board. And it's so important because the biggest takeaway that I hope people on this call get today is that regardless of whether or not you're going to treat sleep apnea in your dental practice, I hope that you leave this wanting to at least screen for it and refer it out. And for me, when I came to Vivos, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a dentist. I'm a finance guy and an investor. And so I looked at it from a totally different lens. And I didn't have a lot of knowledge about sleep apnea. And I certainly didn't think I had sleep apnea. And when I came to Vivos, I decided that I wanted to, learn more about the patient experience, what our patients were going to go through so that I could help this company grow. And so I took one of those tests that Dr. Gelb showed on the screen, a home sleep test. And I found out that I had a 33 AHI, which means I stopped breathing 33 times an hour for 10 seconds or more. And I had no clue. Like the majority of the people that suffer from this have no idea that the problems are stemming from their sleep. So for me, I had a great solution with Vivos. So I wasn't that concerned about it. So I went to my dentist that I'd brought on board and trained with Vivos, and he, custom made an oral device for me. And March 1st, 2019, he called me on the phone. It was Friday. I was coming home from a business trip with Vivos, And he said, hey, your device is in, come in Monday at 9 and we'll get you started in your treatment. I said, great. An hour and a half later, my wife was rushing me to the hospital because I was having a stroke. So at the age of 43, 2 weeks away from a triathlon, in the best shape of my life, physically, I had a stroke. And if you don't know, you're 83% more likely to have a stroke or a cardiac event if you have undiagnosed and untreated sleep apnea. So, you know, I wanted to come on today and support Dr. Gelb and everything that he's teaching and talking about, and you know, all of the people's lives that he's changing, and offer an opportunity for anybody that wants to dig in and learn a little bit more about integrating sleep into your practice. We've got an Airway Summit coming up on June 6th. It's a one-day summit. It's digital. Do it from your office, do it from your home. I think we're all getting more exposed to this type of learning, right? And you get 7 CE credits for attending. And so you can go to airwaysummit.com and register for the summit. And when you go to the registration page, there will be a place where you can put in a code to make it free. And that code is Corbin VIP. That's Corbin VIP, like very important person. And that'll get you into the summit free of charge and get you those CE credits as well. And what I hope to accomplish out of getting more people into the summit is, like I said before, at least start screening, because you have hundreds and hundreds of patients in your practice that are absolutely suffering, that may be like me and have a stroke or a cardiac event, that have no idea that they have sleep apnea. And I think Dr. Gelb will probably back me up on this, that when he first got into treating this, it was even less, you know, people were even less aware of it. And now it's starting to become a little bit more mainstream. Dentists are starting to hear about it more and more and more. But it's an absolute lifesaver. And if you want to have the absolute best way to grow your practice on social media, save someone's life, right? Because when they start to have the life-changing experiences that you have when you go see somebody like Dr. Gelb and he gets you sleeping better, those patients scream from the rooftops. You know, I can't remember the last time that I ever left the dentist with a crown and thought to myself, man, I'm going to post on social media about how beautiful this crown is, and I'm going to take pictures and everything else, right? But we have patients that regularly will do full-blown before and after pictures and testimonials on Facebook and Instagram and all of these things because their life is better. They're sleeping better. They're not having the headaches. They're not having the pain. And it is really life-changing. For the first time in my life, I figured out what a good night's sleep was. I thought I slept fine because I slept heavy, right? And when I say I slept heavy, I had a hard time getting out of bed, right? And so I didn't really understand what a good night's sleep was until I put this device in my mouth and I woke up before my alarm, ready to tackle the day for the first time. And I was like, this is incredible. I never knew. And so many people have got conditioned to just not understanding what it's like. And so, you know, I thought it was, I grind all day. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm raising money. I'm doing deals. I'm stressed all the time. And I thought that that's why I woke up tired. And so I solved it by downing 300 milligrams of caffeine and hitting the gym, and then needing another Monster Energy drink at noon to keep me going. And if I had to work late, another one at 5. And this was just the way it was because I'm just getting old. But it doesn't have to be that way. And so, you know, Dr. Gelb talked about the kids. You talk about transformation in children. Vivos is one of the few solutions out there that has both a solution for the children and a solution for the adults. And so when you get a child in there that's suffering from attention issues and that sort of thing, and you get them sleeping, those attention issues tend to go away. They're not going to be all of a sudden become perfect children, of course, but you know, bedwetting, all of those issues that parents struggle with, that the MD community in general doesn't know what to do with. Guys like Dr. Gelb and people that are coming on board with Vivos have a solution for those children. And so we're really excited. Our mission is to rid the world of sleep apnea. And, you know, we're growing fast, and we're educating what I believe to be the absolute perfect person to tackle this. And that is the dentist in the dental community. Because I can't remember the last time before I had my stroke that I went to my primary care provider, but I go to the dentist twice a year, right? And so you guys are on the front lines and have the ability to flip the table in the MD community and be the place to go for this medical problem. And so we're really excited about it, and I'm excited to get an opportunity to work with you, Dr. Gelb, and I look forward to, you know, getting the opportunity to speak at some other some of the other events that you're putting on, Gary. And I just want to thank you very much for giving me this voice and giving me the opportunity to reach out to your community.
You bet, Corbin. We're just so grateful to have you, and I'm glad you're well and bringing this to our community. Yeah, thank you so much. Michael, comments, thoughts from what you heard?
Yeah, I mean, my comments is right on track. And if the patients now are too scared to use aerosols, they're too scared, it's the perfect time to scan. It's the perfect time to combine something like PerioProtect, but it's the perfect time to screen your patient, like Corbin's saying, for a sleep problem. If they're snoring, and who doesn't? You gotta understand that 37% of the population, 80 million Americans, 37% of the population, it's almost like who doesn't have a sleep problem, right? Like almost everyone we know, kids, adults, grandparents, most everyone that we know has a sleep disorder. You've got to screen, at least get the study done. So Gary and Diane, I can give you the info. We can get everyone, we can get people to accept insurance if they have to. That's not our model, but we have a way that all practices can start to screen, ask the right questions, order the sleep test, and then it's just a scan. You got to understand 90% is team driven. This is a team. The mothers, the women get it, the ninjas get it because their kids have the problems. Their husbands all are snoring. They're snoring, they're exhausted. So you're really talking to the right audience. And what I wanted to say, what Corbin was saying, our faces have shrunk. Everyone's Homo sapien, our faces are smushed in. We have narrow noses, narrow palates, we have big tongues, we have small airways. As a species, Homo sapien right now in 2020 is the prime candidate to have an airway problem. The dentist, exactly agreeing with Corbin, the dentist, we are in the right place at the right time right now to be the profession that can deal with, and it's the perfect time to be dealing with both the oral pathogens, inflammation in the mouth, because who's most susceptible to getting this? People with prior comorbidities, right? High blood pressure, cardiovascular disease, obesity. This is what drives some of these, bad scenarios once you get the virus.
Yeah, and one of the things to be aware of right now, Steve couldn't be on today's meeting. He was taking his son back to a Marine base, going back to serve our country, and spoke to Steve this past week. He said, Gary, we are seeing about 10 to 15% of dentists who are not going to be going back to work. Very interesting. That's a higher number than I thought it was going to be. He said, because you can't out Walmart. You can't out DSO the DSO. They have better buying abilities, and they also get better reimbursement from insurance companies. Like, he was going through that whole concept. He's like, this is the turning point for dentistry. You either go drill, fill, and bill and get on your roller skates, but you almost can't outrun it because of how the structure is going to be in the new model. He's like, this is the time to pivot. The word pivot is being used a lot. You pivot to a complete health model, under by which is exactly what Michael just said, managing the bacteria and the inflammation using PerioProtect, and then going after the airway work. You won't be able to take care of all the business that is in front of you. Michael has an airway only practice that we're building a general dental practice in with hygiene. So we have to do the reverse for Michael, and he has proven the model. Now we're taking with the work that Corbin's bringing into the community. Now we're going to have a plug and play ability, because we know Michael and I grappled with, giving the clinical confidence. We grappled with overcoming the barriers for implementing sleep apnea in a practice. We have those systems all built. It's all right here on this session with Michael's expertise and Corbin's ability as well. We can now bring airway in seamlessly into a dental practice. So if you haven't brought airway in yet, now's the time. And if you haven't put in complete health, now's the time, because the new patient, by the way, lungs, breathing, airway, COVID, people's attention and intention is to be healthy and respirate. And that's where we're at right now. So final words from Michael and Corbin, and we'll wrap the day up.
Go ahead, Corbin.
Corbin, let's go. So, Corbin and Michael finish.
My final is really what I wanted to hit home today. Please start screening, educating your patients about this. I talked to you a little bit. The real pandemic in this country is not COVID. It's sleep apnea. More people are dying from it. More people have comorbidities from it. This is just absolutely an essential part of, needs to be an essential part of your practice. Start screening. If you're not comfortable treating, reach out to us and either join us or connect with one of our doctors and start referring to us. And we will help save your patients' lives. And that's what I have to say.
Yeah, thanks for your generosity too. We posted your free CE event on Corbin as well. Thank you for your generosity.
You bet.
Appreciate it. And Michael, please.
Yeah, I would back it up. If you're not doing airway or sleep because you think there's obstacles, Gary and I have batted this around and we've got ways of overcoming the obstacles. Start with asking the questions, like just look up Stop Bang, STOP, Stop Bang questionnaire. It's very simple. Then I put a link down I have all 50 states covered. I've got 2 physicians in every state. We can do telemedicine consult with your patient. And we're really trying to make it easy for you. During this time, New York State told us we couldn't do home sleep testing. We're now making it better. I am now working with I'm collaborating more with physicians to make this possible. And if you don't treat it, like Corbin said, refer out. But it's a great opportunity now. If you want to do less drill and fill, if you want to differentiate yourself from the practice next door, get into complete health. It's like Corbin said, you transform lives. It's the most exciting thing that I've seen in dentistry.
Love you guys. Thank you all for watching.
Thank you.
See you next week. We're going to have care credit and how to handle overcoming money as a barrier.
Take care.